Okay, so the day 3 card for Wrestle Kingdom 16, which happens on January the 8th in Yokohama and is New Japan against Noah, has been unveiled. There are 11 matches on this card, 9 for the main show, 2 are going to be pre show matches. Let me run it down piece by piece. I'm not going to make predictions until later, until a later date. And for the record, those on New Japan World will not be able to watch this on New Japan World until a week after. If you want to watch this the day it happens, you have to get an Abema account or pay for it on Abema, a different streaming service, for about 35 bucks. That being said, let's look at this card. And it looks pretty good to me on paper. Kicking it off in the pre-show, we have Kosei Fujita, one of the young lions of New Japan, taking on Noah's young Sem, which is basically the Noah equivalent of a young lion. Yasutaka Yano, no relation to Toru Yano. It should be a decent matchup. Yano's been in the business a little longer, at 15 months, where Fujita has been in it for about 7. Should be fun. In the other kickoff matches, we have the third generations colliding. For New Japan, it's Tencozy and Blue Justice Yuji Nagata. For Noah, it's King Tany, Muhammad Yone, and Akitoshi Saito. Should be interesting to see how this pans out. So they're seeking to show their generation, as low as on the card as they are, can still bring the action and fight with pride for their respective companies. Then we get to the show proper. Representing New Japan in the House of Torture show, he battles longtime junior veteran of Noah, Atsushi Kotoge. Show's not doing this for company pride. He is strictly loyal to the House of Torture and nothing else. And he just wants to make an example out of Kotoge and Noah. Next up, Taiji Ishimori and Gedo against Hayata and Seiki Yoshioka. And believe me, most of these Noah guys, I'm not familiar with. And true, while I do watch the King's Arc channel, which is on YouTube, which is a massive archive of old school All Japan and Noah content, some of these guys are from after the time I usually skim through on King's Arc. Anyway, Ishimori, a longtime veteran of Noah, had battled Hayata in the tail end of his Noah career, mostly over the GHC Junior Heavyweight Tag titles. Hayata currently is the GHC Junior Heavyweight Champion. And I think this should be interesting. Would Ishimori want to stake his claim to get back a title he held longer than anybody in one run? I don't know. Next up, Battle of Rudos. Representing New Japan, Suzuki-gun, El Desperado, and Doki. And representing Noah, and by proxy their faction, Perros de Mal de Japón, or the Dogs of Evil, Yohei, and Nosawa Rongai. Nosawa I only know a little bit about, and it's mostly from his time in Impact during the days of the X Cup, during the Asylum days, and the early Impact Zone days. Specifically, he was the captain of Team Japan for the Super X Cup of 2004. He was part of an Open Invitational X Division title gauntlet that same year, as well as an Open Invitational Gauntlet Cup to kick off Impact's inaugural monthly pay-per-view, Victory Road. He vanished shortly thereafter. So this will be my first time seeing him in action since that. That is not archived. I don't know how this is going to handle itself. Next up, 10-man tag team action. And boy, this is going to be a mouthful. As Chaos and Hontai combine to take on Noah's home team. Representing the New Japan in combination. Tomohiro Ishii, Hiroki Goto, Yoshi-Hashi, Ryusuke Taguchi, and Master Wato. And representing Noah, Daisuke Harada, Hajime Ohara, Daiki Inaba, Yoshiki Inamura, and Kinya Okada. No relation to Kazuchika Okada. I mean, you have on the Noah squad 2 men who are former GHC Junior Tag Champs in Ohara and Harada, the Mad Dog Inaba, the young powerhouse Inamura, and the rising star of Okada. When you pit them against Chaos's Ishii, Goto, and Yoshi-Hashi, the longest reigning ever openweight 6-man tag champs, and team them with the duo of Ryusuke Taguchi and Wato. Should be interesting how this pans out. Next up, another Suzuki-gun matchup. It's Suzuki-gun against Segura-gun. Sugira-gun. Taichi, Taka Michinoku, and Minoru Suzuki take on Takashi Segura, Kazushi Sakuraba, and shockingly, Kenta? I mean, Kenta, where does his allegiance lie? I mean, it's quite obvious if you want to go by fan appreciation, he was more appreciated in Noah, as New Japan fans instantly turned their back on him because he was an outsider who came in from the WWE in the worst way possible. Now, there's also some history. If you don't recall, Sakuraba was one of Suzuki's last matches he had in New Japan in 2015 before the entire faction was banished to Noah. During that time in Noah, Suzuki had one of his hardest hitting title defenses as GHC heavyweight champion against Segura, and eventually converted Segura to Suzuki-gun. But in 2016, at the tail end, Segura turned on Suzuki-gun and drove them out. Will New Japan fans consider Kenta donning the emerald green and stepping onto the arc of betrayal? I don't know, but that depends. Zack Sabre Jr. and Yoshinobu Kanemaru versus Naomichi Marufushi and Yoshinari Ogawa. Interesting in this case of the history Zack and Kanemaru have with Noah. In Zack's case, his Japanese career actually started in Noah. And opposite him is a man he actually twice held the GHC junior tag titles with. And credited him, and a man that Zack credited it with molding his catch stylings to fit in the Japanese rings. Kanemaru, on the other hand, the longtime ace of Noah's junior division, having won it 7 times over his stretch. But he was a man who betrayed Noah to Suzuki-gun in 2016, and unlike Segura, he left with the group at the end of that year. Will Marufuji and Ogawa be looking for payback? You bet they will be. And in the case of Ogawa, probably slap some sense into his former pupil. House of Torture's Evil and Dick Togo collide with Noah was Go Shiozaki and Masa Kitamiya. If New Japan's fan base is partisanly rooting for the best in New Japan, they're probably going to say for this match, they're defecting to Noah. Mostly because of how much of a couple of assholes that Evil and Dick Togo have proven to be, and how despicable the House of Torture have been. They've developed a lot of go-away heat. Trust me on this. this sport fans. And I put emphasis on go away heat. How are things going to pan out? I don't know. Because remember, I'm not doing picks in this. I'm just breaking down the card in this video. Finally, the double main event. Now, again, we don't know what order these matches are going, but I believe this next match is going to be the one that closes it out. Whether or not they have gold on them in hand at the end of January 5th, Kazuchika Okada and Hiroshi Tanahashi will take on the duo of Noah's newest rising young star, Kaito Kiyomiya, and one of New Japan's and the second generation New Japan Three Musketeer, Keiji Muto. Kiyomiya has been gunning for a chance to face the Rainmaker for over a year. Tanahashi, on the other hand, is going up against his old mentor, the Pearl of the Orient. These two have not crossed paths with each other since Wrestle Kingdom 3, when Tanahashi got the title off Keiji Muto in the Tokyo Dome in 2009. And Muto has recently been given a lot of praise by Okada for what he used to mean to professional wrestling. I mean, then again, Muto's had a pretty decent run this year. He's a former GHC Heavyweight Tag Champion. In a dumb decision, they took the GHC Heavyweight title off Kiyomiya and put it on him, making Muto only the third man to have held all three major Japanese heavyweight titles. He's held the Triple Crown Championship multiple times, the IWGP Heavyweight Championship 4 times, and now he's a former GHC Heavyweight Champion. The only other two to do it, Yoshihiro Takayama and Kensuke Sasaki. Can the Ace and the Rainmaker take down the Supernova and the Pearl? I don't know. And finally, we have a 10-man tag match pitting Kongo against Los Ingobernables de Japón. Representing LIJ, Shingo Takagi, Tetsuya Naito, Sanada, Hiromu Takahashi, and Bushi. On the other hand, representing Kongo, or Diamonds, as of now, we're not sure if he's going to hold on to it, the GHC Heavyweight Champion, Katsuhiko Nakajima, National Openweight Champion, Keno, Manabu Soya, Tadasuke, and Aleja. Shingo had stated he wanted to go after Nakajima. Naito and Nakajima both have ungovernable and antagonistic charismas that have seen them flourish under the banner of the Lion and the Emerald Arc, respectively. Will Kongo be able to take down LIJ? I don't know. And keep in mind, I don't follow Noah all that much. Sure, I keep up to speed with it when I can, but New Japan is more my bread and butter when it comes to Puroresu. So maybe this will be a chance for me to get a good look at the current crop of pro wrestling of Puroresu Noah. I've got nothing else to say. Mets2128 signing out. Leave a comment, smash the like, sub to the channel. Goodbye. Good night. Bang.